Join two sisters who explore the couples that fandoms adore. We write their stories in the night, in the glow of computer light. Eyes connect, clothing flies, in our head canon love never dies. Senseless that leave us pining, in deep forums we are mining. For this journey, better strap in, because we all know that shit happens.
Welcome to the podcast that explores the couples fans can't stop daydreaming about from the pop culture you love. When it comes to your favorite shows, ship happens. We're your host. I'm Rachel.
I'm Emily.
And she likes pop. Rachel like making podcasts. So we thought we'd join forces to make a podcast about popular online ships. Emily, how did this idea come about?
I don't know. It was your idea.
I was like, hey, Emily, want to do a podcast? No, I came up with this a while ago and was just waiting for the right opportunity and the right partner to run with. And luckily, I inherited one from birth.
I was already there. Yeah.
In the wings waiting. Like, this is our time. The Sister podcast about ships. So don't ship us because we are sisters. All our adoring fans from day one.
Yep.
We love you guys. So Emily, you have a vast more knowledge than I do about online culture, I think. And some of these things that we'll call maybe a little bit more dorky.
Well, thanks. Yeah. I am a proud owner of a Tumblr account from like over a decade. So yeah, I'm a little bit more aware maybe
of the couples that are out there.
Yeah. I think I maybe have a little bit more finger on the pulse there of the nerds. What the nerds
you
are
will
into.
be the girl wearing the dark eyeliner in the dark black outfit from the 1980s movie. And that'll be like the jock that has a ski vest. No, just kidding. I'm far from cool myself. But as somebody who has more experience on the online world, what are some of your favorite ships?
Okay, so I spent a lot of time thinking about this recently, but I don't really have any. At least in the way we've set it up, where we're only counting things or couples that don't get together.
That's
yeah,
right.
I don't know.
We love the tension.
Yeah. I don't pick up on that shit. I'm only buy in on whatever they put in front of me. And otherwise, yeah, I don't really pick up on it.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, so this will be interesting. What are other much more creative, maybe more in tune with the emotions? What they come up with.
People with better imaginations than us.
Yeah. I don't know what it says about me, but I've been surprised in the past by actual couples.
Like, oh my God, was there something going on between those two the whole time? I had no idea.
Literally, yeah.
It'd be like,
they will profess their love, and I'm like, whoa, when did that happen?
Wait a minute. I know she just let go of his corpse floating on the door in the cold Atlantic Ocean, but like, is there a vibe between them? Like, did I pick up on that vibe?
Did I miss something? It happened in a book, my book club I go to, where all the women were like, oh, it's so romantic. They're like all the ways they're writing letters to each other and stuff. And I was just like, man, totally missed it until they started literally were like, love you.
Until they explicitly said, I am in love with you.
I was like, I had a totally different experience than you guys.
You're just like, I thought they were buddies.
Yeah, so I'm in it for the swords and things.
Oh, the swords, of course, yes. What really matters.
Yep.
So if you had to pick a favorite fictional couple then in general, who's your favorite fictional couple?
Okay. So I did come up with some that fit our context, right? Been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate recently, Baldur's Gate 3, and you can have multiple love interests there. I think they're all kind of equally good, but one of your possible love interests is named Karlach. She has a issue with her heart, and she's got like a metal machine heart, and you meet a blacksmith that can help her out with that. And I just felt like they had something going on. Blacksmith Damon. It does not happen in the game. Definitely did not happen in my game because she turned into a mind flayer. But spoilers.
Spoilers. If you haven't sunk, 500 hours into Baldur's Gate
literally
yet.
So much time.
Okay, so you have...
Because I ship them.
Okay, the girl with the machine heart and the blacksmith.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat because I know I've seen something that's had tension. I just can't think of it. And like you, I've also recently spent some time thinking on it. I wonder why. But I just could not come with it. But so I'm going to pick my favorite couple that sizzled, that I just thought was like, yes, I was rooting for them so much. And like, I like an underdog story, right? So the couple that comes to my mind is from PBS Masterpiece Theater, Poldark and Demelza. And it's just like such a good love story where he's like this big fancy guy come back from fighting war in America for the wrong side. And then, 1700s. And he is some kind of elite in their culture, and he like gets snubbed by his ex-fiance and all this stuff. And so then he has this maid from this rough and tumble mine family of miners. And then at one point he like seduces her, and then he like marries her because he wants to be an honest man. And she's just pulled into this high society life, and she does really well in the end. And I don't know. I like that story.
I remember because I watched some of it because I like literally rage quit when he like cheated on her or something. Like they broke up and I got so mad I never watched the rest of it.
Oh, so I guess they didn't end up together, huh?
Like, not from my perspective. She left him and I was like, yeah, end of the show.
Yeah, well, I watched until they get together and then I quit. I'm like, happily ever after from here on out.
We're done.
So maybe that does count as my favorite ship, but maybe I just liked Poldark out there swinging his wreath around or whatever, his reaper around in the hay. That was nice. But
so pretty.
He's a very attractive man. I was like, PBS, you can't be showing this kind of content before 9 p.m.
That's because it was a much higher level of attractiveness overall on that show than Masterpiece Theater, generally.
Yeah, than most other Channel 9 shows.
Yeah.
So that's probably the one that I think of, like a sizzling couple. That's the one I think of. If I had to pick a couple that is like a real true ship where it exists only, well, mostly in the minds of the people who enjoy the show, I think it's got to be the couple we talked about today, because, I mean, it's the first couple we're talking about for a reason, and it's the one that's been kind of knocking around my head in the subreddits that I frequent. But before we dive in, we want to know your favorite ships, and you can let us know by texting the number. It's not a number. You can hit a link in the show notes and you're able to send us a text. So you can text us your favorite ships and we can cover them in upcoming episodes. So we want to hear from you and know who we should be covering next, because we're kind of like the blind leading the blind, stumbling through this labyrinth of pop culture. There's a lot out there that does not even come across my doorstep.
And neither of us are super, we're not out there reading the fanfics. We're not quite up on the,
And
what's
the other
hot
thing,
right now.
People should send us their cross show or cross content couples too, because as we mentioned, that's not really within our creativity brain power.
Nope.
So I'm excited to hear from you all. All right. So with that, let's get into our first ever couple that we're going to cover on Ship Happens. And this couple is called, drumroll, Emily, let us know.
Oh, and I was going to do the drum roll. Okay. This couple is, was it Zikina, Zeke and Tina Belcher from Bob's Burgers.
Woo!
Favorite show of both of us.
Yes, this is a show I personally have on repeat constantly. I don't know, Emily. How often do you watch Bob's
Not
Burgers?
so much. I do have to occasionally check in on Hulu, see if there's a new episode, because who knows when the new episodes come out.
It's like really at random. It's like they look to the stars, and if they're aligned, they're like, oh yes, we will bless you with a new show.
I swear there was a new one like 3 weeks ago, and then just nothing. And then nothing before that. It's like, why did you just release this?
Yeah, it's not going to come out until this show comes out. They'll have a new season, hopefully. And I hear they're no longer doing holiday episodes, so
no,
that's a bummer.
Yes, I need Thanksgiving.
But this show is very apt to be our first show, because I remember when you told me about it, Emily, way back in, what was it, 2014 or 2013?
No idea.
When did you were on your externship, but I was visiting you and you're like, you should watch this show. And I was like, okay, I'll watch it when I go to sleep. And the first episode totally won me over when the main character goes into the crawl space and becomes like the phantom of the crawl space. Those first couple episodes are pretty good. And for those of you who aren't familiar, the show Bob's Burgers follows the the Belcher family. That's a little joke for people who watch the show. The Belcher family and their adventures managing their struggling burger restaurant. The family includes Bob and Linda, who are the loving and well-intentioned, but at times a little hapless parents. And their 3 kids. So the youngest is Louise, who is a criminal mastermind and agent of chaos with a heart of gold. She's 9, I think, right?
No idea. It sounds right.
I think she's 9. I don't think she's double digits yet.
She's only 4th graders. I think they talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. I don't know. Tell us if we're wrong. Jean is an 11-year-old musical genius with the middle schooler's sense of humor. So real crude, real crass, and the desire for attention that only a middle child can have. And finally, we have our girl of the hour, Tina, who at 13 is the living embodiment of that painfully awkward period in your preteen years. Tina straddles the line of childhood and adolescence with her love of her equestronauts, her imaginary horse Jericho, and her internal struggle on whether or not she's too old to be trick-or-treating each Halloween. And she balances that with her blossoming sexuality, erotic friend fiction, and infatuation with pretty much every preteen boy she encounters.
So even though Tina is not too picky when it comes to who she'll have a crush on, basically any guys that gives her attention, including the boy she met in the grocery store milk aisle fridge. They had a little connection while reaching for bottles. To every boy auditioning for a favorite boy band, and even a ghost named Jeff trapped in an Easy Breezy brand shoebox. But there's one dancing boy above them all, and that is Jimmy Pesto Jr., son of her dad's restaurant rival across the street from Bob's Burgers. So a kind of a Romeo and Juliet situation there, except it's extremely one-sided.
Yeah, the problem with Jimmy Jr. is that his affections are inconsistent at best. He is consistently hot and cold. That feels like an oxymoron. Consistently on and off. But he tends to see Tina as just kind of the safe option he can fall back on, right? When she asks him to go to the dance and he says, well, let me see what my options are first.
Until she got another date.
And then
all of a sudden he cares. Yeah. No, I mean, I understand why in the show they can't get together because you need that back and forth, but I think she can do better.
I think she deserves better.
Yes, exactly.
And luckily, better might be found where you least expect it, because enter Jimmy's best friend, Zeke. So when Zeke enters the show, he is most seen as a roadblock for Tina. He is the best friend who is competing for Jimmy Jr.'s attention. And, she is not particularly a fan. I think in the first episode that he's in, they're trying to do this late night exploring. She's trying to lure Jimmy Jr. onto this romantic date in a abandoned taffy factory. But then he brings his best friend Zeke along, and she's none too enthused. But this show's been on since I think I saw it was 2011. The first episode aired. So it's been on a long time. And throughout the progress, we see a really big character development arc for Zeke, who goes from really gross, as described by Tina in the Bad Tina episode, to the infamous apocalypse incident of the UFO No You Didn't episode, where there's a lot of renditions of fan art based off a little encounter that happens there.
All right. So where does the ship come from, and why do people want to see them two together? I will say Zeke is pretty ride or die for Jeju. So there's that. He's loyalty, man.
Yeah, that's what I saw that called out again and again.
Yeah. He is. Yeah, at least he's a solid friend. So some other kind of bits that people are pulling from in the TV show. So a couple moments of tension. So their best moments in episode Mad Pooper. Zeke is been just pooping around the school. They don't know. In mystery, the Mad Pooper is out there. just taking dumps randomly, and Tina has become the go-to kind of journalist on the case. So when it is exposed who the mad pooper is, Zeke lets everyone know that while he did start doing it just kind of for himself, for fun.
Yeah, it was an accident.
Yeah.
Accident. For fun. Accident.
He kept doing it for Tina.
He enjoyed her rise to fame. And then another episode, Midday Run, Zeke tells Tina she helps him procure a mascot suit to go entertain his grandma before she has a surgery. And Tina is a hall monitor, and she kind of helps him evade the powers that be and their school guidance counselor. After she breaks the rules and kind of follows her own moral compass, Zeke tells her, now we'll have a story to tell on our wedding day. You don't think it'll happen, but I'm going to get you, girl. I'm going to get you. And I think this is where the relationship or the couple, the ship itself started forming in fans' brains.
Yeah, he seems to have maybe a bit more feelings going on.
Yeah, he's definitely, well, yeah, explicitly. He was like, we're going to get married someday.
Yep.
And that's where people were like, wait a minute.
So we also have another moment of kind of Zeke in episode Odor, because it's odor games like Hunger Games.
Their landlord is an eccentric man named Calvin Fishoder, who is also described as a supervillain at some point. He makes all his tenants compete for reduced rent in a water balloon Hunger Games-esque fight.
Got a white suit and a golf cart.
An eye patch.
A cane, maybe? Yeah. So, yeah, so apparently Zeke is on their street because he's in part of this.
I think he just tagged along with Jimmy Jr. He was just like, where are we going?
I watched this, for dinner today. Yeah, I was like, why is Zeke there?
And Teddy. That's another one that's confusing.
I guess they're all just there. It's all the characters. So, yeah, Zeke.
Don't think too hard. Just enjoy it.
And Jimmy Jr. participate in this water balloon fight to the lower rent. And they come to a moment when they're in the hedge maze, because the Fishoder is a supervillain, where they have no water balloons and Tina has one, and she gets to choose which one she's going to kick out of the competition. So she has a real tough time with making the two boys try to compete for her affection in order to stay alive in the water balloon fight. So she asked them, was it stuff like, when is it okay to kiss a girl? Oh, when is the not time right to kiss or something? But anyway.
Yeah, there were some good jokes in there for
sure. But maybe as a ploy to save his own skin, or maybe not, Zeke admits to liking Tina a lot. And then him and Jimmy Jr. have to compete to describe the best date. Jimmy Jr. says they would go to the drugstore. So
very romantic. And that just really sets the tone of how Jimmy Jr. treats this poor girl.
Well, Zeke comes up with a much more appropriate date of, I believe, tacos and the touch tank at the aquarium.
Which we learn in later seasons is her favorite place to go.
Yeah.
When they make the religion of aquaticism.
Oh, yes. I remember that episode.
Yeah, so I definitely did not pick up on this too much when I watched it, in my watching through. I read it as Zeke. I read it as a ploy. Like she was gonna smoke him. He was like, wait a minute, I like you. It didn't come off as super authentic to me, but a lot of people, it sure did.
Well, because he does immediately after tell Jimmy Jr. that he doesn't deserve her. So
yes,
or he's not serious about her or something, speaking truth.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't know, yeah.
Is there truth to it? I don't know. We'll find out if they ever, make this couple come to fruition. And they started with that little teasing line, and now Zeke admits it full out. And this is kind of the crown jewel of the tension moments between the two. The apocalypse that I mentioned before in the episode UFO No You Didn't, where Tina thinks she's brought around the end of the world by sending a message into outer space that the aliens are going to come destroy the planet. So she thinks it's her last day on Earth, and she's running through the school. Granted, she does first run into Jimmy Jr. and then kiss him. And then she starts running again. And who does she run into next? Zeke. And she plants a big fat one on his mouth. And he even teasingly brings it up in front of Jimmy Jr., but won't say exactly what happened. So This is kind of like the crowning moment of Tina and Zeke, the Zekina folks that they play on. But did you know that this is not the first time that they are depicted kissing in the series?
No, I did not.
Do you have any guesses on when it might have happened, or do you just want me to tell you?
Was it in real life, or was it in like a dream or a friend fiction?
It was not a friend fiction.
Okay.
It's hard to say if it was in real life. It was kind of in a gray area.
When the kids all tell their own stories?
No, it was in a closing credits.
Oh, okay. When they do a little song.
Yeah.
Well, so what was the episode? Was it so it took place during the closing credits. They play a song. They do a little, there's some dancing
So it was in fact in season 6, which was 3 seasons before the UFO No You Didn't, which I just like saying, which is why I'm saying it so often. It was in the closing credits of the episode, The Hormoniums, where Tina has a kind of crisis, a moral crisis again, where she wants to be the lead in her, I don't know, a cappella show choir thing that talks about puberty issues, and she was playing not Mona Lisa. Crap, what is that kissing disease you get? Mononucleosis. Yeah. So she was mononucleosis to be mono, and so she had to go on stage and tell everybody not to kiss anybody. But by being that role, she was uninvited from another girl's birthday party that they were going to play Spin the Bottle. And at the end, she follows her heart and she makes a plea for kissing. And then she gets invited to the party at the end. And in the closing sequence, there shows her kissing the different boys at the party, and Zeke is included in that.
Good for her.
Fun fact. We don't know if it was real or if it was just,
Yeah, is that canon?
I don't know. You let us know. So on top of that, we've seen a lot of growth from Zeke. Okay. So as he comes in, he's kind of gruff. He's got a southern accent. He's got a cut off shirt. He's got a mullet. You would think they were building him up to be a kind of a bully like character. And sure, when he first showed up, there wasn't a lot going on other than he was that in between for Tina and Jimmy Jr. But a lot has changed in the 14 seasons since then.
Yeah, we've gotten some really like Zeke-centric episodes. I know there was one recently where he was reunited with who he thought was his bully, but turns out maybe he had done some bullying himself. Very complicated. They had to.
And he
work
showed
through
Tina
that.
his butt. That was another one that was mentioned, and Tina said, "Nice."
Oh, okay. Well, that seemed to be one of Jimmy Jr.'s more redeeming qualities for Tina, so maybe that'll work for her. But yeah, so we've also found out he seems to move around a lot, so it builds some sympathy.
What happened? They were like, Zeke, why do you do, I think it was the Mad Pooper, right? They're like, why do you do what you do? And he just responded, my family moves around a lot.
I do kind of remember the pooping was for attention, so the cry for help maybe.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, he's just really kind of grown as a character out the series. He encourages Tina when she's nervous to give a speech. And he actually seems to kind of have a nice relationship with Tina's little brother, Gene. They're both two kind of goofballs.
Yeah, that episode where they go out to find the two-butted goat. And I did not look this up, but I can tell you off the top of my head that it's called Stand By Gene, because I knew it was a play on Stand By Me. And yeah, they have this really fun relationship the entire time where they're like, Zeke's obsessed with Gene, and Gene's kind of like, I don't know what to do with this. And it's really cute. And like we said, he's gone from this kind of annoying character to somebody you root for, somebody you like. And that's why it's not so hard to understand why the fandom has kind of rallied around these two. So you have Tina, who crushes on literally everyone, but there has really never been a story where she has a crush on Zeke explicitly. So he's different. He's special. And he's got kind of like that underdogness to him.
That's true. Yeah, there's been many episodes of her possible love interest besides Jimmy Jr. But yeah, Zeke
He's never in the mix.
Not really in the race, yeah.
Well, eventually she'll be like, I've scorched earth policy. I've already finangled with everybody, so he's the only one left.
We support it.
We do.
So yeah, so what does the fandom think? Why do they want these two kids to get together? Well, there's Zeke and his unwavering interest in Tina, even if it's just a joke or if he's being threatened with a water balloon. And he is, like we said, extremely loyal to his Jeju, Jimmy Jr. Whereas Jimmy Jr., yeah, I don't know. I guess him and Zeke seem close, but yeah, he just can't quite get it together when it comes to Tina or anybody else.
Right. And then you get into all the fan theories about, he doesn't know anything about, he can't love people because his dad doesn't love him. And it's like, okay, because it's a cartoon.
I think it's just because you can't have them good together.
Yeah, right. Because then
what are they going to do?
Yeah, it's just think about every 20-minute episode as its own universe, kind of.
Yeah.
At that point, except for they have all those themes, callbacks during it. Like I was watching one of these episodes today, and I noticed that the ice cream machine had all the dents in it from when the shark ate it. Oh, it's a good show.
Well, yeah, and they there's stuff from the movie, right? Like when it starts.
They build up to the movie. I missed that. That totally went over my head, but there was apparently recurring things that led up to the movie because
there was a sinkhole or something.
Yeah. People kept tripping on it in front of the restaurant, the cracks in the pavement. Again, these are things I learned from the subreddit and not from actually noticing. Because like I said, this is my show. I've watched it. It's played probably like 50 times. I don't know. As soon as it's done, I basically put it back on. I fall asleep to it every night. And I don't know if I would sit down and actually watch any of the episodes though. It's just there.
They're a good go-to dinner show because they're so short and fun.
Yes. Yep.
And then you're done and you can go about doing whatever.
It doesn't suck you in. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, as and they're 15 whatever seasons in, I feel like Jamie Jr., he's at the start, he was definitely not interested. And now it's off and on. Maybe sometimes he's interested. I feel like recently they had a cute moment, but I don't know. Maybe she needs to expand her horizons.
Oh, I think, she's expanding those horizons, but sometimes the real answer is right under your nose. You don't even realize. So some of the things that people call out, I've seen on the subreddit and why they ship these two together is that they, of course, call out the loyal friend, and Zeke has loyalty to not only just Jimmy Jr., but pretty much just everybody, right? Anybody who deems in his good graces.
And he's been cool with the siblings.
Yeah, he's got good relationships with them. I don't know if there's ever been a specific Zeke and Louise specific interaction or subplot, but I think that would be kind of fun. Or as somebody else pointed out on a subreddit, a Zeke and Linda. Which I don't know how that would happen, but I feel like
I see them. I could think it would work though.
Yeah, he would be like, "I like your crazy." That's good, crazy girl.
I think they would. Yeah, because they're both kind of good to go.
Yeah,
whatever.
They would just build off of each other.
Yeah.
There's nobody to rope them back in. What's that line? There's somebody's gonna match their freak. Those freaks match. I would say. Another thing that they called out is that he's very family oriented, which is not something I picked up on either, but he does talk a lot about his family and the time they spend together. He mentions his stepdad or stepmom or something. There's some kind of step family member in there. And that shows that they spend time together, and it's a very, maybe an unconventional situation, but they are very devoted and kind to each other, which is very similar to the Belchers, because that is definitely not the normal family dynamic, but they're all, they love each other so much.
That makes it so good.
Yeah. And my favorite little factoid I saw on there was that Tina wants a cool nature-inspired nickname in the episode Go Tina on the Mountain. And she specifically wants to be called Teagle instead of Fuzzy Butt from a toilet paper commercial she was singing. So she wants this cool nature nickname. She wants it to be based on a bird. But what has been Zeke's nickname for her the entire series?
It's
T-Bird.
T-Bird.
Yep. I'm like, come on, it's right there in your face.
Right, we have the icing on the cake. So we kind of talked about Zeke's relationship with the rest of her family. But in one of the episodes, when Bob becomes a substitute teacher, we find out that Zeke has a perfect palate. Bob kind of takes him under his wing for the episode. I think he's sous chef or something in their little restaurant they make at the school.
The home astronaut.
Yeah. So the fans have been shipping them. Maybe next generation for running the restaurant. Zeke and Tina. I don't know. I feel like it's going to Louise.
Well, she does call that out and they go to the museum, but this one is what introduced me to the concept of the ship of Zekina. It was like, what do you think that the kids are going to be doing? It was a post on the Bob's Burger subreddit. What do you think that they're going to be doing as adults? And somebody had talked about Zeke running the restaurant. He does the cooking and Louise does the books, essentially. So who knows what they're like. And that was the first time I saw that Tina and Zeke were together, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that. Let me delve into this a little bit more.
I see it. 'Cause really, what's Jimmy Jr. bringing to the table? His own.
Yeah, there's no way they're making it.
He doesn't seem interested. His dad has the restaurant, but he doesn't seem interested. He wants to be a dancer.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to move to LA as soon as he can, Tina. Don't get your heart broken. And so that is what set me down the rabbit hole and inspired me to like dig into it. And apparently fans have been digging into this relationship, this couple, for a long time because there's a lot of fanfic out there around it. And okay, I say a lot is relative considering, right? Some of these other fandoms. There are 275 works around Zekina on AO3. And I just want to point out that is over 100 more than there were with Tina and Jimmy Jr.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It is awesome. But I did notice while poking around AO3, it is actually the top work under the Bob's Burgers category is a Tina and Zeke fan fiction. So,
yes. And that is a story called Baby Steps. We should make a note to make sure we call out who the authors are, I guess, and not just the stories themselves. Yeah. And okay, the thing I'm new to fan fiction. I think we mentioned like this is not my comfort zone. This is all new to me. How are these people writing 500,000 word stories?
Yeah,
that's
so
how
I
long
looked
the
it up
story is. 500,000 words.
Yeah. I was like, okay, that means nothing to me. Let's match it to a book. Like, how long of a book is that? So that is longer than the entirety of Lord of the Rings. All 3 books. We're getting into War and Peace territory. Crazy.
I can't believe people have read that much of it. I can't believe people read that, right? Like, I cannot believe that people sat on the internet and read 550,000 words.
That's like 20 hours.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah. Normal, like, the minimum for a novel is like 50,000, right?
Oh, wow.
So, anyways. Yeah. Anywho, people on the internet, fans, y'all are serious. And I do admire that about you because I have not put what is that? $550,000. $550,000. I want to be rich. 550,000 words worth of effort into anything, I feel. So, like, good on you. You know, that's serious.
And you read the whole thing? I think, good writing. That must just carry you through.
It must,
read anything
man.
if it's done well.
Right. And that apparently it is because it's gotten 25,000 views and tons of comments and hit kudos, or I don't know what it's called. Again, I'm new. But essentially, this story is just the story of Tina breaking up with Jordan, who is AKA Ghost Boy from an episode maybe titled Ghost Boy? No, The Land Ship. And Zeke is helping her mend her broken heart. I read a little bit of it, but I did not get very far because I did not have time to read 550,000 words. But it seems to be
sweet,
the trend.
Friends to lovers.
Yeah, I like that for her. I like that for all of them. It's just sweet. This was a very heartwarming one to start. I mean, I feel like as we go, we're going to have to build in like a toxicity rating too, because I'm sure there's going to be some toxic relationships.
Some enemies and...
Yeah, so this is all above board, I don't want to say 10 out of 10 because, I mean, it's above board from the level of toxicity. Like, if your friend told you this happened, you wouldn't be like, I think you need to reevaluate your life.
You're like, what is this coming from?
Yeah.
I think you mentioned this to me and I was like, you know what? I see it.
Yeah.
Not something I come up with on my own, but, I support it.
Exactly.
And I think Tina deserves better.
And that is what this whole podcast is about, is opening our aromantic eyes up to the possibilities of love. What about all the times that we could have had potential love stories and we didn't even notice?
Just minding my own business.
Yep. Oh, man. So I think that wraps up our dive into the Zikina ship. But before we sign off, we are going to give each couple we cover a true pairing score. true pairing being, of course, the relationship of all relationships, right? That one perfect partnership. That is what the true pairing score is measuring against. And Emily, what do you give Zeke and Tina?
I think I probably give them maybe like 9 out of 10 burgers.
That's
almost perfect. Not quite, you know, I need a little bit more interactions maybe, but.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a little bit more attention. I think they need to be a little bit more forthright. I think, Tina needs to wake up and notice she has feelings for him too. But I feel like that has to be maybe like a slow build. But anyways, I'm right there with you. I was going to give him 4 out of 5 burgers, which I don't know. I don't know if that really matters or not. I don't know. I don't know what the difference is between 9 out of 10 and 4 out of 5. Fractions.
Mine's a little bit higher of a percentage, but
yeah, I just don't think I could have gone to the 4.5. And the only reason I did knock them the one burger is because Girls 13. There's a whole lot of people, more people out there outside of your middle school.
Yeah, who you met in middle school. That's
Yep.
yeah.
So that's a little bit of the real world crashing down on.
Tina's gonna have a great time in college.
Oh my gosh, yes. And actually that's some of the fan fictions I saw were about them reuniting as like older adults. And I was like, okay. Yeah, gotta let that T-bird fly.
Yeah.
Gotta let her have her freedoms.
Get some experience. There's a lot of butts out there. A lot of butts that she hasn't touched yet.
Butts, beautiful butts. And I'm so glad that we kicked this off with the Bob's Burgers topic because it's home.
Mm-hmm. Love these guys, yeah.
Okay, I think that is where we put a pin on it for our first ever Ship Happens episode. How are we going to close these things out? We haven't decided yet. There's so many logistics we have to cover. Like, what is the music going to be?
Yeah.
Butts, beautiful butts, all those things.
Topsy, that's my favorite. Still my favorite.
Oh, it's so good. We'll see you and your favorite couples next time. But until then, remember... Ship happens.